Hello, this is Mike Smith. Welcome back to another Maya tutorial. This time it's just a short tutorial on how to create a Playblast. Now, if you've created an animation or some kind of simulation with dynamics, if you don't have time to do an actual batch render, now if you've done that before you'll know it takes a long time, you might just want to preview what you've done. And a Playblast is a very quick and efficient way of actually doing that. Now, one thing to point out before we start is a Playblast won't actually render your scene. It will just show you what we see in our actual Maya window here. So we don't see any lighting or any effects when you render. So in this case, I've got an end cloth, and if I play that, you can see it kind of plays slow. It might jump a bit as well. So I want to actually view this in its real speed as a video. So first of all, we can go up to Window, Rendering Editors and Render Settings, because we want to set our final resolution. It doesn't really matter what this says at the top here. It doesn't matter what render engine we're using, because it's not going to use any of those. We just want to look at this common tab, and if we scroll down towards the bottom, we want to look at our image size. Now that will be our output resolution. I'd suggest you use something quite small. Our default HD 540 is small enough to keep the file size down, and the Playblast will be quite efficient, and it's large enough to actually view what's going on in our scene. So try not to get carried away with this. Don't set it to HD 1080 straight away. You might as well save that for the final render. So HD 540 is good enough. So we'll close the window here, and now we can go up to Window and click on our Playblast option box. And if I bring that window over, I'll reset the settings first of all, so you can see everything I've changed here. Now at the top, time range, if we leave that on time slider, it will Playblast every single frame we've got in our timeline here, and you can see I have 300. I don't want all 300, I just want this to go up to about 240, which is 10 seconds. So I'll change this time range here to start and end. Then I can manually put in start time frame 1 and end time 240. Then we can look at our format. QuickTime is my preferred format. There are other options there. It really depends what software you have on your computer, but QuickTime is free to download and it's a very powerful tool. So I'll leave that on QuickTime. Encoding I'm going to leave on PNG because it keeps the file size down. It's also quite a nice quality for this, and I'll put my quality up to 100. Now my display size, if I leave that at from window, it will actually choose the resolution of my screen, and in particular the actual size of the window we can see inside our Maya screen. Now this is quite a large screen, and it's quite a high resolution screen, so I don't really want to choose all of that. So I can change my display size to my render settings. Now we've already set that to HD 540, so I can leave that there. My scale, if I leave that on 0.50, it will be half my render settings, which I don't want. I want the full render settings. So my scale will be 1. That means it's 1 times the size of my render settings, which is the same. So when you're happy with that, go ahead and click on Playblast. It might still take a few minutes to actually play all those frames. It'll basically Playblast at the same speed as when you play here. So this will go quite quick. However, if you've been experimenting with particles or fluids, it could still take several minutes, so make sure your scene is saved before you click that, and then just leave it to it. And once it's got to your end frame, in this case 240, QuickTime will open up that video for you, and that'll give you quite a smooth playing video, so you can actually view your production in its real speed, and you can see if there's any timing errors. And it's quite a nice thing to save, just to actually keep an eye on your progress, so you can keep a log of what you've done. And lastly, when this window opens up, make sure you save that. It won't save automatically. So this is opening up in QuickTime Player 7. You'll have to actually go to File, Save, and then rename it. Okay, so hopefully that's useful. Make sure you keep the resolution fairly small, and I think this came out about 6.4 megabytes, so it's still quite a small file, small enough to upload to a blog or a website if you want to. Okay, so keep experimenting, try something new like this, and have some fun with the software.